Welcome, everybody. We'll wait a couple more minutes here, but good to see some folks already joining. Wait about another minute or two, and then we'll get started. Wait about one more minute, and then we will get started, everybody. A couple more joining. All right, let's get into it. Well, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to hop on this Sage Lunch and Learn series. Today, we will be talking about unlocking your finance intelligence and how AP and AR can power your business growth. And this is going to be discussed with our wonderful co-host, Bill.com. Before we jump into it, though, I'm just going to give you a brief overview for those that don't know about Oasis. So, just a quick overview of us. We were founded in 1991, so we're in our 34th year of implementing ERP systems. We implement Oracle NetSuite and both Sage 100 and Sage Intacct. We are headquartered in Louisville, Kentucky, but we have employees across the United States and a few in Canada as well. And something that we're very proud of is our industry expertise. A lot of our consultants are comprised of former CPAs, those that have MBAs, and former CFOs. So we love that they also have that executive leadership experience that's parallel with that technical knowledge as well. We do serve over 500 clients across the country, so the Oasis footprint is always growing. And a testament to our hard work and growth is some of the awards that you can see at the bottom there, including the Fast 50, some of the best places to work in Louisville, and a top VAR as well from a couple of different awards. But let's go ahead and get into it now. I'm going to pass it off to my co-host, Noel.
All right, awesome. Hello, everyone. I'm a solutions consultant here at Bill. Just a little bit about me. I've been here at Bill for about 9 years. I've worked with all of our channel partners from VARs to accounting firms, direct customers, banking partners, so on and so forth. I actually started out in support, worked my way up through implementation, but the last 6 years as a solutions consultant. So I really go through the technical demonstrations of the product, making sure it's a good fit, making sure the solution or workaround is going to work with those clients. And really today's agenda is we're going to go through saving time and streamlining your AP/AR process with the automation that we have within our financial automation tool. We'll go through how we can simplify the invoice processing, help with data entry automation, as well as payments, and then of course, getting those details back over into Sage. From there, I'll kind of go through a live demo of those steps. We'll go through a quick Q&A, and then I'll turn it over to Brad, who'd like to go through a special promotion for our webinar attendees here today. So thank you all so much for being here today. So just a little bit about what we do with simplifying AP. Typically, a lot of these are very paper intensive for the clients that we work with. And we really bring that down into 4 simple steps where we can help automate and digitize these processes. One, of course, is our capture feature where we can bring in the documents directly. And we're able to read the information off the document automatically, help out with filling out the coding, as well as routing for approval. And so once that's complete, then we jump into the approval side of things. And you'll be able to manage those digital approvals and have an audit trail behind them, as well as usernames and timestamps. And this way we have a centralized place to go in and approve bills and keep track of those versus either fishing them out of your email or paper that's sitting on a desk. Then we start getting into payments. And the interesting thing with payments at Bill is that we are the money transmitter license, or we are the money transmitter. We have the licenses in all 50 states. And we have various ways, not just to pay the vendors in different ways, but also to fund those payments in different ways. From what we had calculated on our end, we have 40 different ways to be able to pay and make those payments. Then, of course, reconciling and how that all works, how we assist with the cash flow, but also being able to either sync or be able to get data extraction directly out of Bill and into your ERP or accounting system, such as Sage. And then as far as the AR side, we also provide the ability to invoice, being able to send out those invoices, and then keeping track of if that email has been opened. We can also print and mail them for you as well. And then collect on those payments, in which we do have various experiences, whether it be a customer payment portal or a guest pay link, or even a manual charge, or even setting up auto charge. Different ways to collect on those payments dependent on that particular customer. Then, of course, again, reconciliation in terms of the depositing, how we work with that, and then, of course, syncing that up into Sage. Now, we do have a couple things that are on the roadmap that are coming up here very soon. One of those will be bill procurement, so being able to create your purchase request within Bill, get that approved from a purchase request approver. Then that converts it over to a purchase order in which you can send that over to the vendor specifically to fulfill. And then, of course, being able to match that directly within your bill creation, where we automatically pull the details from the purchase order for you. Another area that we're working in is also multi-entity AP solutions. Both of these are actually available in beta right now, should you have a client that needs to request it. As of right now for multi-entity, it's able to approve bills all within one place across multiple entities and pay bills all within one place across multiple entities. And as you can see with the screenshot, we're also developing the inbox where we can have a centralized inbox, but are siphoned out by the individual entities as well. So it's easier processing and managing across those multiple entities. So let's kind of dive into a live demo here. I'm going to back out of my presentation and we'll jump into my demo account here. And really with that capture portion, that begins with the inbox. And the first thing is getting the document into the platform. And it really takes us about 5 to 10 seconds to read that information. But there's multiple ways to get that document in. We have a dedicated email address with the bill.com domain. You can drag and drop files, upload several files at a time. Or let's say the client's a little bit more on the go. They don't have a scanner handy. They've got a physical invoice in their hands. They can take a picture of that physical invoice and have that uploaded directly here. We can even read handwritten information off of these documents. Let's take a little bit there to load. I'm gonna try a different one here. Okay, taking a little bit there. Let's go ahead and go through some of the other features that we have here. So we do also have duplicate detection as those documents are being brought in. So not only can we read the vendor name, but we also read for the invoice number, in which case we will check that vendor record, see if we already have that invoice being used. We also have things like new vendor detection, where if we recognize we don't have this vendor within your vendor list, we have a quick way of adding that vendor as well. Lastly, we do have unlimited document storage within the platform. So the inbox isn't just for transactional documents. We can bring in things like tax documentation, contracts, agreements, receipts. And with the More tab, we can store those in different areas as well. Did forget to mention one thing here is our multiple bill split. So if we have multiple bills in a single PDF, we can automatically split those for you as well. But let me go ahead and jump into our bill creation. So you're going to see a lot of pre-populated information, all kind of coming from a couple different technologies. So we do utilize AI to capture the high-level details. So we're picking up things like your vendor name, invoice number, invoice date, due date, total amount. We can read for payment terms as well, or stick to the default one set up on the vendor. Or we can also read for purchase order numbers and apply the purchase order items or expenses directly here. Now, the rest of the details here, we utilize a smart data entry model that is basically transaction memorization with a little bit of machine learning, that when that vendor's read off the document or selected by the user, grabs the information directly from the previous invoice, applies that coding here. And we also have a click and capture tool where you can grab pieces of information directly off that document, click into the highlighted area, and then click in the field that you want it to paste into. Can also help out with coding, where you can just grab a keyword, plug it directly in. We'll go through the list and search it for you on what is either synced in from Sage or was imported in from Sage. And we do support your basic dimensions for systems like Sage Intacct. We also support custom dimensions as well. You can have up to 6 of those. Down here at the bottom, this is where you route for approval. Now, this is something that you could manage manually. This could include specific individuals. We have an either or option with approver groups where everyone in the group has access to approve it, but really just requires one person from the group to do so. But this one that I have locked in is actually set up based off of a bill approval policy. And so with our policies, you can set up multiple criteria. This could include a specific vendor, amount thresholds, line item amount thresholds, GLs, any of your basic dimensions here. So as that bill gets coded, such as my marketing department, it will set the approvals for you in real time. And then lastly here, just the notes section where we can leave any additional details, instructions, or questions. But I'll just leave a quick note. If it is something that is an urgent matter, you can always tag the user. They'll get an instant email or push notification with those details. We'll go ahead and create this bill. That, of course, runs a secondary duplicate check. We ensure the total of expenses and items match up to the total amount. The document leaves the inbox, and now we're ready to process more. But what we'll do here next is we'll go through the approvals. I'll show you here as far as what it would look like within the web browser as well as our mobile application. So for most approvers, we take them exactly where they need to go, which is right to their bill approval queue. And they have as much or as little touch as they prefer. So if they'd like to pull up documentation, they can do so very quickly. They can see the latest notes that have been left behind, and also customize columns if they want a little bit more or less information. And if this is all they really need to see, they can always click approve here to the right, or select several invoices at a time. But there's also approvers where they want to get into all of the details. And if that's the case, they can click right to the invoice number. They can move up and down the queue just by clicking next or previous here at the top, or by taking that action. Now, generally, they don't have the ability to edit bills as an approver-only user. So if they do see something majorly incorrect and they don't have that permission, they can always deny it, in which case we require them to select a reason, but also put in their own words and context exactly what's incorrect about it. And this way, everyone's on the same page. We don't really have to hunt them down or reach out to them as to why they specifically denied something. Just going to prove this one here. I did also want to show you a little bit of the mobile application. So this is one of the pain points I run into with customers is, well, I have other people in other departments and they don't want another system they have to remember a password for and sit down and log into on their web browser. They're very much on the go. And that's where the mobile app comes into play. So not only can we approve the bills here, but we can also bring in documents, as well as creating those bills, paying those bills. And then, of course, as far as the approvals, it's just very simple for them. They can swipe right to approve, swipe left to deny, move on with the rest of their workday, pull up all the details if need be, go into each line item, pull up the documentation, and then ultimately approve or deny here at the bottom. And should they deny, still requires that additional context. So now that we have some approvals completed, we'll jump back here and we'll go into the payment side of things. Let's go and approve this one while we're at it. And that'll be in our unpaid bills queue. Now, the default filtering here for the unpaid bills queue is everything that's fully approved that's unpaid or partially paid. But you can filter a little bit further, focusing on specific vendors or group of vendors, maybe all the bills that are due within the next week as well. So they can streamline that process a little bit further. But generally just selecting which bills they'd like to pay. We do have various payment types dependent on how the vendors are set up. So if all we have is just an address, automatically set up via check. But one of the very first things we do whenever we create a vendor or bring a vendor into the Bill platform, we search our network of 7.1 million businesses, see if we have them set up on things like ACH or virtual card. Now, generally, if we don't locate them, you can always invite them to join the network. They get a free account with Bill. They get to connect with other Bill customers and just simply get paid. So very easy, simple way. And one of their favorite emails is that the payment is on the way. We always send that remittance out to them on that process date. Now, additionally, to take note, we also support international wires. We have local transfer type of wires where it's almost like an international ACH, and then we have your standard wires. Now, we can pay in the local currency with no additional fee, just the exchange rate we provide here at Bill. And if you don't have multi-currency enabled within your system, that's absolutely fine. We can record everything in US dollar as well. If you need to pay US dollar to a foreign bank account, we can absolutely do that, but there is a flat fee that's associated with that. But once we have these selected, we select our process date, and that's the payment date. That's the date the funds will leave the bank account or funding method. This is the date that we send the remittance detail to the vendor with the details. And then ultimately, that's when we'll go ahead and issue out those payments. Things like checks, we mask the client's bank account, we use our banking information. We take care of things like positive pay on the back end. If you invite them to the network, we do some extra back end verification for you. But ultimately from there, you can simply edit the payment amount for any partial payments. We do also work with vendor credits, and for most of them, we can pull them directly in, or you can create them here within Bill, and you just apply the credit directly here, and we'll sync that up into the accounting system for you. Now, lastly, the various funding methods we have here at Bill. Now, generally, most of our customers are utilizing this with their main bank account, but we are bank account agnostic. We can use different institutions as long as that bank institution can work in ACH, because that's how we pull the funds on the process date. We'll be able to utilize that here within Bill. We also have the ability, if they have a corporate card, they're looking to extend cash flow, take advantage of rewards, they can definitely fund any of these payments utilizing a credit card. Vendor still gets their check, their ACH, virtual card, or international wire. We also have a digital wallet concept called Bill Balance that you can always preload funds in, allows for you to process as soon as today if need be, becomes a next day ACH for a lot of those ACH vendors. And there's no additional fee for utilizing that. But generally, I'll go ahead and select my process date here. We'll push it towards next week. That'll update the date as well as the estimated arrival date here. And if all looks good, we click review and pay. We also have a mark as paid option if anything was paid outside the system. And with review and pay, it removes all the rest of the fluff. I'm really more focused around these specific payments. And so we have things like the mailing address, making sure that's correct. The payment notification email is up to date for that vendor. The account number also will automatically populate in the memo field, as well as the invoice number. But keep in mind, we can always combine multiple invoices into a single payment for a vendor. And if we accidentally selected something, we can always remove it, send it back to the unpaid bills queue. We just have a brief summary here at the bottom of the number of invoices and vendors being paid, how it's being funded, and that total amount. And if all looks good, we pay these bills, that officially schedules them and creates the payment records for us, which we can manage further in the payments out screen. One other note for you is also our alternative workflow around payments, where we can also have a payment approval. Yes, someone can go in and schedule the payment, but have another user come in and approve that payment before the funds release. But just going into the payments out screen, this is where our money transmitter licenses come into play. Because we are facilitating the payment, we're masking the bank account, we're using our banking information, we give the user total control over that payment. So they have the ability to cancel that payment before it goes out on that process date. Or let's say everything was fine on their end, but then the vendor reached out and realized, oh, we forgot to let you know we moved or we changed our bank account. You can stop that payment in flight and decide to either return funds back to your bank account or funding method, or you can decide to fix the information with the vendor, get a new payment out the door without having that extra money movement. Now, on the other side of this, you can provide just view access into this section. So with that view access, this allows that user to jump directly in if a vendor has a question around the payment to understand where in the process that payment is. So when was it scheduled? Who scheduled it? What date is it set to process? How is it being funded? And then ultimately, once it is delivered and cleared, we provide the proof of deposit. This includes the cleared check images, ACH batch and trace ID information, virtual card details, as well as a full page of international wire tracing information. So no longer are clients left in the dark when a payment goes out the door. We're going to be facilitating that and have controls over that and visibility directly within Bill. Now, jumping back here, as far as things like uncashed checks, managing the reconciliation, we no longer have to worry about the checks clearing or the ACH clearing because we've already pulled those funds via ACH out of the bank account. They're technically funded. So they already have an idea of what's going on with the cash flow moving forward without having to worry about things clearing. Now, as far as things like uncashed check or failed payments, we have queues for that. We notify at 20 days outstanding, but at 90 days, our checks automatically expire and we return the funds back to the bank account. But that's pretty much just a brief demo of our 4-step process. If you'd like to dive in a little bit further with a personal demo, we can absolutely do that as well. Let me go ahead and jump back here. And we'll kind of dive into the Q&A. But were there any questions just around that 4-step process here within Bill? Okay. Brad, did you want me to hand things over to you, or do we want to jump into AR briefly?
Noel, if you don't mind, please do jump into back to the platform just to cover a little bit of the AR component. And then certainly if anybody does have questions, feel free to pop them in the chat.
Yep, sounds great. So yeah, as far as the AR goes, of course, you have the ability to create the invoices. You can customize your invoice template, create custom fields on those invoices as well. We also have our invoice financing product, but that'll probably be a concept for another day. But here you're able to create the invoices, or what a lot of our customers do is they create their invoices outside of Bill, either import them in or sync them in, and they'll either send them through Bill, which we have the sent status here, or they'll utilize one of either our customer payment portal link or our guest pay link to put directly on their current invoice template. As long as that data of the invoice is here within Bill, the customers can pay through the Bill platform. And so a little bit of what their experience would look like, let me just pull this up very quickly, is if you were to send it through Bill, this is what the email would look like. We also have email templates that you can set up here as well. We include the logo, company name. Now we have our guest pay option where, let's say, for example, these aren't customers I have a very close relationship with. They don't really need to see a lot of historical invoices or payments. They have a very quick way of just jumping in, no login required, to go ahead and pay via credit card or bank account. Now, we do charge 2.9% flat directly here at Bill. However, if you need to set up a convenience fee, the client wants them to take on that cost as the customer, they can absolutely set that up, which I do have this one set up here. Now, on the other side of this, let's say, for example, I just need a customer payment portal link. I need a central portal for them to be able to log into, review transactions, set up things like auto pay for themselves. And that's where the customer payment portal link comes into play that you can plug in directly in your current invoice template at another third-party system. Let me go ahead and log into this one here. Now, as far as setting up, they just require a little bit of detail from the current invoice as well as your email password, and you're pretty much having access. In which case, you're able to see a little bit of a summary balance. What's the current balance, payments scheduled against that balance, and of course, what's remaining. In which case, they're able to just jump right in, pay those outstanding bills. As you can see, instead of going one by one through YesPay, they'll have multiple they can select from here. They can add in their credit card or bank account. If they haven't added it, it will prompt them to do so. They can schedule when they want that payment to go out and just click pay. But if this is something where they don't want to have to come in every single time, as of a certain amount, they rather just have it be auto charged, they can always go and set up their own auto pay, select the bank account or credit card, and how many business days before or after that invoice is due do they want that charge to happen. Now, all these are things you can set up on the customer's end. So if they prefer doing or setting up the auto charge, setting up the ACH, they can absolutely do that within the Bill platform in the customer profile. But yeah, just a very quick kind of review of the AR features here within Bill. But we'll open it up to any questions. Okay, Brad, I'll go ahead and hand it over to you, just as far as the promotion goes.
Sounds great. Yeah, I know it can be awkward sometimes to drop questions in a webinar type setting, but if anybody does have any certain call outs, inquiries, or you do want to schedule some time with us for personalized consultation or a demo, we understand that everybody's AP/AR processes are not a one size fits all. And so we can definitely cater a discussion to help understand if our solution is right to help bring some more efficiencies to your teams. As an added incentive and in partnership with our friends over at Oasis, we are offering up a $100 Visa gift card to anyone that does decide that they want to spend some time with us individually. So feel free, Noel, if you want to jump to the next slide real quick, to either get in touch with Andrew from Oasis, who opened up the webinar with us, Garen, who leads client success for the team, obviously, or myself. Our contact details are here, and we'll also make this presentation available to all the participants and registrants as follow-up. So you have this information handy, as well as some links to some other resources, which will be available on the presentation materials as well. Andrew, any closing statements from your end?
No, I think you guys covered everything very well. We really appreciate your time, and thank you, Noel, for outlining all of that. It's greatly appreciated. And like Brad said, please feel free to reach out to us with any questions, and we'll be following up as well.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for spending some time with us today. Appreciate it.
Thank you
guys.
for the
Have a
time
great
today.
day.
Enjoy.